Hey, what's up guys? Gons here for the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. I wanted to briefly talk about all the space propaganda. Now, I've touched on this several times on this channel, but in just the recent weeks, I feel like they've really amped up the space propaganda. And what I mean by that is propaganda, news, media, things that are coming out, suggesting that space really is our home, or that there are other aliens out there. You know, there's a divide even within the scientific community. You know, some people think philosophically that, oh, the universe is so vast and huge, there has to be other beings out there. And then the other side of it is the Fermi paradox, which basically says if there are aliens out there, we would have found them already. Now, the truth is probably somewhere in between, and as a Bible-believing Christian, especially one that has a bent towards biblical prophecy, I question all kinds of stuff. Is there even an outer space? Or if there is it exactly what we've been told it is? You know, there are lots of questions, especially now, that are coming up. And I don't doubt that there's something out there in terms of things that are being measured. You know, it really is interesting times because we have these instruments, telescopes and microscopes, that peer into the smallest areas of our existence and also these large, faraway areas above our heads. And, you know, some of the things that we see are very similar in nature. And I won't get into all that here, but it is fascinating to consider because cosmologists as well as quantum physicists are measuring something. They're getting data back in some form or another. Now, how we interpret that data, how we represent that data, that's according to human interpretation. And, you know, there could be error there. But in terms of data coming in, there's absolutely data coming in. It's just how we parse it, how we understand it, how we apply it to our worldview and our cosmology. So I wanted to relay for you a few stories here that have been in the news cycle the last few days that really indicate that they are preparing us for the announcement. If you go back to just 2 or 3 videos ago, Daniel 243 Project, Who Are They by Casey Green, who allowed me to post it on my channel. She goes into the Vatican and how the Pope is seemingly preparing the world for some sort of disclosure event. And, you know, it's a really interesting question. Who's going to be the one to announce the quote-unquote aliens? Is it going to be the scientific community or the religious community in terms of the Pope? And there has to be a unification there. There has to be a confluence, a convergence point, because, you know, just the Pope announcing something won't be enough. The scientific community would say, no, there's no evidence for it. But just the scientific community announcing it, well, all the religious people will just say, oh, I don't know about that, or they'll say it's just demons, end of story. And ultimately, I do think they are demonic entities, these beings, these fallen angels that are going to be here again, if you will. And it's all part of, I think, the 2 Thessalonians 2, coming of the lawless one in accordance to Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. And remember, this deception is towards the ones perishing. Those who are perishing, who did not love the truth and be saved, they're the ones that are going to believe the lie. So if this is part of the lie, then they're really setting up for it. And so here's some stories that have been out there in the news that seem to be, again, inching towards that reality. Now, as I was making this recording, NPR published an article called Are Life's Seeds from Outer Space? And again, they asked the question, is it possible that life or the origin of life is from outer space? And they talk about chirality. And if you've studied creation, young Earth versus old Earth, the word chirality might be familiar to you. But even in this article at the very end, they say we are far from figuring this one out, unfortunately. They don't know for sure. They're throwing stuff out there. But why would they even say this? Well, because the quote-unquote evidence suggests that it's possible. And if it's possible, then the people who receive this information will consider the reality of the deception when it comes. So it's interesting that this was published even as I make this video. Now let me get to the list that I had collected in the last couple weeks. According to a press release by ALMA, astronomers using the Atacama Large Millimeter Sub-Millimeter Array detected a clear signal from oxygen in a galaxy located 13.1 billion light years away. The basic story here is there's oxygen somewhere out there in a distant star system. And with oxygen being a key element in life, they're saying, hey, see, life can be out there. We found oxygen Space.com reported twisty molecule essential to life spotted in deep space for the first time. It says here molecules with right-handed and left-handed versions are essential to all life on Earth and have been found in meteors and comets. Now, for the first time, one has been spotted in interstellar space. There you go again. There could be life really far out there. Another Space.com article stated, Limestone World exoplanet around dying star boasts substance linked to life on Earth. And it says a distant world could be rich in limestone, a rock that, on Earth, is produced by living processes. The planet's star is slowly devouring it, revealing to watching astronomers what look like a limestone crust. On Earth, limestone has ties to living organisms, though the substance can also form without their help. So, again, spinning it in a way that suggests life can exist out there. MIT TechnologyReview.com. Now they're sequencing DNA in outer space. 5 weeks from now, on July 16th, a Falcon 9 rocket is scheduled to blast off from Cape Canaveral to the International Space Station carrying a DNA sequencer into space for the first time. While this isn't big deal science, no one has ever tried to decode DNA in outer space before. Being able to is something that might come in handy on a Mars mission if a crew member gets sick or alien mold appears in a spaceship. So there you have it. DNA going into space, decoding DNA happening for the first time next month. TheVerge.com reported this is how a large fire spreads in space. NASA's Sapphire 1 experiment aims to study flame behavior in microgravity. Earlier this week, Orbital ATK's Cygnus cargo capsule, which has been attached to the International Space Station for a few months, was filled up with more than 4,000 pounds of trash and released from the station out into space. A few hours later, a fire started inside the vehicle's gut, and multiple sensors and cameras gathered data about the blaze. Again, fire in space, necessary elements for life. But that's not all. Scientific American reports fungi in space. If you can make it on Earth, you can make it on Mars. And it says, in addition to irritatingly lodging themselves everywhere from shower grout to the Russian space station Mir, fungi that live inside rocks in Antarctica have managed to survive a year and a half in low Earth orbit under punishing Mars-like conditions, scientists recently reported in the journal Astrobiology. A few of them even managed to cap their year in Mars-like space by reproducing. So there you go. Reproduction of fungi in space in Mars-like conditions. Again, pointing towards life out there. Specifically Mars, it seems. There seems to be a push to go to Mars or have an exploration to Mars. All of it contains some sort of story about life forms. KUTV.com. Space probe confirms chemicals of life in comet's halo. Berlin AP scientists have found further evidence supporting the theory that some of the building blocks for life may come to Earth from outer space. Using instruments aboard the European space probe Rosetta, researchers detected glycine and phosphorus in the dusty halo around a comet. Phosphorus, interesting if you have been tracking with me on a couple recent videos. But there you have it. Chemicals essential for life found in the halo of a comet. More stuff saying there's life out there. AlJazeera.com. And this story is a few weeks old now, but it stated, Tutankhamun's dagger of space origin research suggests. Scientists say dagger found in ancient Egyptian king Tutankhamun's tomb was made with iron from a meteorite. A team of Italian and Egyptian researchers who analyzed the metal composition of the blade said on Thursday the artifact was made with iron from a meteorite. So there you have it. Even the Egyptian pharaohs seem to have a tie to outer space in origin. Now, this is really interesting because, of course, I do think Egypt does play a role in biblical prophecy. If you look at Daniel 11, it's clear. But also that, this whole Space Brothers thing in the tie-in with the alien agenda in conjunction with advanced technology, some sort of device that the pyramid was made to soul travel, things like that. There's all kinds of rumors and research regarding that. So having Egypt as part of the equation here, ancient Egypt in particular, is no surprise. Moving on, NationalGeographic.com. Week's best space pictures see a supernova's glowing ghost. Space ghost first spotted in 1572. The star explosion known as Tycho's nova left behind gases glowing with X-rays and radio waves. And so there you have it. There's the image of this ghost out in space, apparently. ScienceDaily.com reported, life's origin may result from low-energy electron reactions in space. Adds crucial data to study of the chemistry of the heavens. Now, the summary of this report, which was from Wellesley College, states, new findings from a systematic study demonstrates that early building blocks of life may be produced when low energy, below 20 electrons, interact with cosmic, that's interstellar, planetary, and cometary ices. This work adds crucial data to the study of the chemistry of the heavens. So there you have it, more studies coming out saying that life can originate out there. So keep an eye on the space propaganda. They're really coming at us with this idea that there is life out there, or that life originates out there, that there is some sort of ability for biology out there. And ultimately, what is it setting us up for? I think a couple things. One, perhaps the elite really do want to leave this earth, okay? They really want to get out there and they want to hide from God, essentially, because God's judgment happens right here on earth. Secondly, they want to help usher in the great deception. You know, the coming of the Antichrist, the lawless one, Satan, the dragon, interestingly enough, which is the one that gives powers to the beast and the false prophet. This arrival of the dragon, I think, could be in conjunction to a alien encounter in terms of the great deception, saying that the alien, our space brothers, our creators are here, and ultimately it's going to be a lie, a big, big lie. So keep track of this stuff, add to the conversation in the comment section, and don't fear, because this is not about fear. We as believers, we know the ultimate truth here. We know what's going on. We know what's going to happen. So stay positive about all this. Ultimately, stay sober-minded. And remember, when these things begin to happen, look up, because our redemption draws near. Have an awesome day, guys. God bless.